Karen couldn't believe her eyes when I refused to fill her tank for free. Her card was declined, but she demanded gas anyway. When I said no, her face turned red with anger. "I'm calling 911, she screamed, pulling out her phone. "My shift just got interesting. Before watching full video, comment below from where you watching. Also like and subscribe for more stories. I never thought a regular Tuesday shift at Miller's gas station would turn into the most dramatic day of my life. My name is Alex, and I've been working at this gas station on the edge of town for 2 years to help pay for college. Most days blend together. People come, fill up, maybe grab a coffee and leave. But this Tuesday? I'll never forget it. It was around 10 a.m. when the shiny white SUV pulled up to pump number 4. The vehicle was spotless, clearly washed recently, with a bumper sticker that read, "The customer is always right." That should have been my first warning. A woman in her mid-40s stepped out, designer sunglasses perched on her head despite the cloudy day. Her blonde hair was styled in that specific, "I want to speak to the manager" cut that has become infamous on the internet. She wore an expensive-looking cream sweater and had that air about her, the kind that says, "I'm better than this place." I watched through the window as she tried swiping her card at the pump. After a few attempts, she stormed toward the entrance, her face already twisted with annoyance. The bell above the door jingled as she pushed it open with unnecessary force. "Excuse me," she said, not even bothering with a hello. "Pump 4 isn't working. Fix it." I nodded politely. I'd be happy to help. Sometimes the card readers can be a bit temperamental. "Let me try processing your payment from here." "Fine," she huffed, pulling out a credit card and sliding it across the counter. $20 on pump 4. I ran the card through our system, but the screen flashed red, "Declined." I tried again with the same result. "I'm sorry, ma'am, but your card is being declined," I said as gently as possible. Her eyes narrowed. "That's impossible. Try again." I did, but the result didn't change. "Perhaps you have another card you could use?" "Listen, kid," she said, leaning over the counter. I could smell her expensive perfume. "That card has plenty of money on it. Your machine is broken. I understand it's frustrating, but—" "No, you don't understand," she cut me off. "I need to get to an important meeting, and I'm already running late because your pumps don't work. Just turn on pump 4 and I'll come back later to pay." This wasn't the first time someone had tried this approach, and company policy was crystal clear. No payment, no gas. "I'm sorry, but I can't do that. It's against our policy to dispense fuel without payment." Her face flushed red. "Do you know who I am?" "No, ma'am, I don't. I'm Karen Whitfield. My husband plays golf with the owner of this entire chain. One call from me and you'll be unemployed by dinner time." My heart raced a little, but I stood my ground. "I'm sorry, Mrs. Whitfield, but the policy applies to everyone. I need a working form of payment before I can authorize the pump." "This is ridiculous," she shouted, loud enough that the only other customer in the store, an elderly man buying coffee, looked up in alarm. "I've been coming here for years. I spend thousands of dollars on gas." "Then I'm sure we have your payment information on file," I said, trying to be helpful. "Do you have the loyalty app on your phone?" "I don't use those things. They're just ways for companies to track you," she snapped. Then her tone shifted suddenly, becoming sickeningly sweet. "Look, I'm in a real bind here. Surely you can help me out just this once? I promise I'll come back later today and pay double." I'd heard that promise before. "I really wish I could help, but—" "What's your name?" she demanded, pulling out her phone. "Alex," I replied. My name tag was clearly visible on my uniform. She started typing frantically on her phone. "Well, Alex, I'm going to make sure everyone knows how you treat loyal customers. This will be all over social media within the hour." "That's your right," I said, maintaining my composure despite my churning stomach. Public shaming was the modern weapon of choice for people like her. Karen's face darkened. "Turn. Pump." Each word was delivered like a command to a disobedient dog. "I cannot dispense fuel without payment." "I'm sorry." That's when she exploded. "You're sorry? You're sorry? I'll show you sorry." She knocked over a display of energy drinks, sending cans rolling across the floor. "I need that gas. I have important places to be. People are counting on me." The elderly customer quietly set his coffee down and slipped out the door. "Smart man." "Mrs. Whitfield, please calm down." "Don't you dare tell me to calm down," she shrieked. "This is theft. I'm being denied service." "It's not theft if—" "I'm calling the police." She was already dialing. "You're illegally withholding services from a paying customer." My heart sank. This was escalating beyond anything I'd dealt with before. I considered just giving in. Was a job at a gas station worth all this trouble? But something in me refused to back down. Why should she get free gas when everyone else had to pay? 911, what's your emergency? I could hear the dispatcher's voice from where I stood. I need police at Miller's gas station immediately. Karen's voice had reached a new pitch. The attendant is refusing to give me gas and is threatening me. My jaw dropped. I hadn't threatened her in any way. Ma'am, is anyone in immediate danger? The dispatcher asked. Yes, me. I'm stranded here because this person won't do his job. While she continued her dramatic retelling of events to the emergency dispatcher, I quietly pressed the silent alarm button under the counter. This situation was out of control, and I wanted my manager and possibly actual police involvement before it got worse. Karen paced back and forth, gesturing wildly as she spoke. Yes, I'll wait for the officers, she finally said, ending the call with a triumphant look my way. They're sending someone right away. I hope you're ready to explain to the police why you're refusing to do your job. Mrs. Whitfield, refusing to give away free merchandise isn't a crime. Using emergency services for a non-emergency, however? This is an emergency, she insisted. I have an important meeting about a charity fundraiser for underprivileged children. By preventing me from getting there, you're essentially hurting those children. Is that what you want? The logic was so twisted I didn't even know how to respond. Thankfully, I didn't have to wait long. Within minutes, my manager, Mike, arrived through the back entrance. He lived nearby and always responded quickly to the silent alarm. What's going on, Alex? He asked, taking in the mess of energy drinks still on the floor. Before I could answer, Karen jumped in. Finally. Someone in charge. Your employee refused to help me and has been incredibly rude. I need pump 4 turned on immediately. Mike looked at me questioningly. Her card was declined, I explained. She wanted me to give her the gas for free and said she'd come back later to pay. Mike nodded, understanding the situation immediately. Ma'am, I'm sorry, but we can't dispense fuel without payment. It's company policy and, frankly, common sense for any retail business. But the police are already on their way, Karen said, her voice faltering slightly. She hadn't expected united resistance. As if on cue, a police cruiser pulled into the parking lot. Officer Ramirez, a regular who stopped by for coffee most mornings, stepped inside looking concerned. Everything all right here? He asked, taking in the scene. Karen rushed over to him. Officer, thank goodness you're here. I was refused service and harassed when I simply needed to get some gas. Officer Ramirez looked at Mike and me. What's your side of the story? Mike explained the situation calmly while I began picking up the scattered energy drinks. So let me get this straight, Officer Ramirez said, turning to Karen. You called 911 because your card was declined and the gas station wouldn't give you free gas? No. That's not. I mean, they were rude and, Karen sputtered. Ma'am, you do realize that misuse of emergency services is a serious offense? Officer Ramirez's tone had hardened. 911 is for life-threatening emergencies, not customer service disputes. Karen's face went from red to pale. But I was stranded. At a gas station in the middle of town with your cell phone, not on a deserted highway, Officer Ramirez pointed out. Did you try calling a friend? A family member? A taxi? She had no answer for that. And, Officer Ramirez continued, according to the security footage I can see right there, he pointed to the cameras mounted in the corners of the store, you knocked over this display, creating a hazardous situation for other customers. I was upset. Anyone would be upset when treated this way. Officer Ramirez shook his head. Ma'am, I'm going to need to see your identification. Karen's attitude changed instantly. Wait, what? Why? To write you a citation for misuse of emergency services and creating a public disturbance. A citation? You can't be serious. I'm the victim here. While Officer Ramirez dealt with an increasingly distraught Karen, my manager pulled me aside. You okay, Alex? Mike asked quietly. Yeah, just shaken up a bit. You did the right thing. We don't give away free product, no matter who they claim to know. As we spoke, more customers had begun to arrive, staring curiously at the scene unfolding by the counter. Karen was now tearfully presenting her ID to Officer Ramirez while trying to explain that this was all a big misunderstanding. I've got this, Mike said. Why don't you take your break early? Grateful, I headed to the back room, collapsing into a chair. My hands were shaking. I hadn't realized how stressed the confrontation had made me. Through the security monitor, I watched as Officer Ramirez finished writing the citation. Karen's body language had completely changed. She was hunched over, no longer the intimidating figure who had stormed in demanding free gas. After 15 minutes, I returned to find the store operating normally. Karen and Officer Ramirez were gone, and Mike was helping a customer at the register. "What happened?" I asked when there was a lull. Mike grinned. "She got hit with a $500 fine for misusing emergency services, plus she has to pay for the damaged energy drinks. And the best part? After all that, she called her husband, who showed up with a different credit card and paid for her gas like a normal person." I laughed in disbelief. "So she went through all that drama when she could have just called him in the first place?" "Some people would rather create chaos than admit they might be wrong," Mike said, shaking his head. "But here's the kicker. She demanded we delete all security footage of the incident. Obviously we refused, especially since Officer Ramirez might need it. The rest of my shift passed uneventfully, though news of the gas station Karen spread quickly among our regular customers. By closing time, I was exhausted but somewhat amused by the whole situation. 2 days later, I was working another morning shift when a familiar white SUV pulled into the parking lot. My stomach tightened as Karen stepped out, but instead of approaching the store, she stayed by her vehicle, pumping gas. Mike, who was also working that day, nudged me. "Check the cameras." On the security monitor, I could see Karen at pump 4, her movements stiff and her eyes darting around nervously. When she finished, she quickly got into her car and drove away. "She prepaid with the app," Mike said, showing me his tablet with the transaction details. "And look, she left a 5-star review for the station." Sure enough, there was a glowing review from Kay Whitfield, praising our professional service and commitment to safety. "Officer Ramirez stopped by yesterday," Mike explained. "Turns out, our Karen has a history of similar incidents around town. The judge gave her a choice: community service or the citation goes on her record. She chose community service." "Let me guess, at a gas station?" I asked. Mike's grin widened. "Better. The judge assigned her to volunteer at the very charity she claimed to be fundraising for. And the charity's director is a friend of the judge, so she'll actually have to show up." I couldn't help but smile. It wasn't revenge exactly, more like perfect justice. 3 weeks later, I was leaving campus when I spotted a familiar figure in an orange vest, picking up trash along the highway with a community service crew. Karen didn't see me, but I slowed down just enough to notice her designer sunglasses were gone, replaced by a look of humble resignation. That evening, I stopped at another gas station across town to fill up my old Honda. As I waited for the tank to fill, I noticed a sign on the pump: "All fuel must be paid for in advance. No exceptions." I smiled to myself. Some lessons are worth learning, even if they come with a $500 fine in community service. And some days, even a routine shift at a gas station can turn into an unforgettable story of entitlement gone wrong. The next time I saw Officer Ramirez stopping in for his morning coffee, he gave me a knowing nod. "How's our friend with the white SUV?" I asked quietly. "Changed her tune completely," he said. "Amazing what picking up trash in the hot sun can do for someone's perspective." "Think she learned her lesson?" Officer Ramirez smiled. "Let's just say she now knows exactly what a real emergency looks like, and it's not a declined credit card. Sometimes justice isn't about revenge. It's about people finally facing the consequences of their actions." And for Karen Whitfield, that lesson came with a full tank of gas that she actually paid for, just like everybody else.